Alright, so let's get started. Who all do we have? We have, let's do a quick roll call. So we have Anjali, Dhanushri, Dhanvin, Praneet, Riya, Saranya, Shravya, Sriyan, Varun and Vishal, and we have Dev and Ritika as well. Wonderful. So I hope the summer has been treating you guys okay. It's getting super hot, but we'll try to make sure that the class doesn't get hot. We'll learn things in a as cool way as possible. So what are we going to learn today? Has anybody got a chance to see the topics for the day? No? Okay, so we'll primarily talk about three things. One is radical equation, rational equation, and then absolute value equations. Now before I start with radical equation, rational equation or absolute value equation, somebody has to tell me what is your understanding of these types of equations. Anybody? And be as open, as creative as you can think of. These are nothing coming from Mars. This is pretty much an earthy thing. So let's see what is your understanding of these three types of equations. Maybe one of you can explain one of it and then pass on the baton to the next person. Dhanvin, you want to talk about it?
Radical equation is an equation that consists with radicals.
And what is a radical?
Like the opposite of a root.
Opposite of a root. So just to make it easy for whoever is struggling to recall, a radical is a symbol that we use extensively in math. Any equation which has a radical symbol to it is called a radical equation. Now radical may or may not be root. I mean, it's obviously a root. It could be the second root, it could be the third root, it could be the fourth root, or it could be the nth root. Doesn't matter. But any equation which has a radical symbol to it is called a radical equation. Is that a fair understanding to begin with? Okay. Now what is the rational equation then? Anybody else other than Dhanvin? Yeah, Praneet. You have to be a little louder, better. I want you guys to shout at me.
The rational equation is when the equation takes the form of a fraction or a rational number.
Okay. Alright. Hey Chris. So any rational number that you talk about, it's nothing but a fraction. This is called a rational number. So when your equation is written in the form of a rational number or something similar to a rational number is a rational equation. What is a absolute value equation then? Except Praneet and Dhanvin. Anybody else? It could be Saranya, it could be Shravya, it could be Sriyan, anybody. Varun, Vishal, anybody. What is absolute value equation? Anybody in the classroom as well? Are you guys shy or afraid of making mistake? Go ahead. Anything. Anjani, any guesses, beta? Dhanushri? Yep. Absolute value equation. How do you describe it in the layman term?
How far it is from zero.
Okay. Let's see what Sriyan wants to say. Yes, Sriyan.
Is it absolute value when like there's like a negative number, but then like it turns like positive? Because like it's like the absolute value of it, and then like it has like a two line principle.
Okay. So like I was saying, when you have a radical symbol used in your equation, that's called a radical equation. When your equation is in the form of a rational number, That's a rational equation. Similarly, when you talk about a modulus equation, that is also represented like this, like what Shian said. When your equation, let's say x plus 2, is written inside the two vertical bars, this is called absolute value equation. If I say this equal to 5. But what does this bar signify? The bar makes us immune to the sign. Meaning, if I put a 3 inside the bar, this is absolute value. So this is actually 3. We're only talking about absolute value. If you have a minus 3 also here inside the bar, the value will be 3 only. It just looks at or cares about the absolute value of it. It doesn't care about the sign. So when you have an equation where you have these two bars appearing, this is when it will qualify to be called an absolute value equation. Meaning an equation where you are only caring about the absolute value. Is that definition okay? Ritika, Sananya, everybody? And I'm randomly calling out names just to make sure that I'm not putting anybody on the spot, but randomly just making sure that everybody is with me so far. So what we have learned so far is we have just talked about the basic definition, or we are trying to build the basic understanding of the three types of equations that we are going to cover in the class today. One is called radical equation, second one is called rational equation, and third one is called absolute value equation. Radical equation is an equation where you see the radical symbol to it, which deals with the roots, right? Rational equation is an equation when you see an equation in the form of a rational number. And absolute value equation is the first time it should catch our eye is when you see two bars in the equation, the vertical bars. Neil, is that okay, beta? Is that clear? So we have just talked about the basic definition of the three types of equation that we are going to talk about. Now, let's look at the first one. Let's start with the absolute value equation. If I am saying x minus 4 equal to 8, everybody can find it out, right? The value, if you have to solve it for x, you will say x equals, you will make this guy travel across the equal to sign, and you say this minus becomes plus, that means x equals 8. Sorry, 8 plus 4 or 12. This part is okay, right? Anjani, Shayan, everybody, right? Okay. Now, there comes an interesting twist to it. Now, what are the possible values of x we can think about? What are those? Think about it. I'm just making you think. I'm not questioning your thought process. I'm just making you think more.
Maybe positive 4 and negative 4.
Okay, that's a good sign. Let's see what Praneeth has to say. Yeah, Praneeth, go ahead.
Negative 4.
Say that again.
Negative 4.
I'm saying what are the two possible values of x we are talking about here. If there was no bar, if this was not there, it was easy peasy. You can say, okay, x equals 8 plus 4, 12. Now I'm saying, if I put a bar here, what are the possible values of x we are talking about? Okay?
12 and negative
12 and
4.
negative 4. So Praneeth also said negative 4. Let's see what Sriyan has to say. Yes, Sriyan, go ahead.
Actually, positive 4.
You are thinking positive 4. Now here's the deal. Okay? When I'm talking about this mod, okay, it's called modulus also, or mod, which refers to the absolute value. Okay? Now look at this. When I have x minus 4, these two bars, equals 8, meaning this x minus 4 could be equal to 8, or x minus 4 could be equal to minus 8. this part alone. Ignore the bar. Because in both the case, when I'm putting a bar to it, I'm only talking about the absolute value, that is 8. So I'm just adding some twist to this story. I'm saying that if there was no bar, it was fairly straightforward. X equals 4 goes to that side, becomes positive, becomes 12. Now when I'm putting a bar here, that means I'm saying, like you guys explained, we are talking about two possible scenarios. One case when this is minus 8, and when you put a mod to it, that will become 8 because you are only considering the absolute value. Or it could be 8 and the bar just takes the absolute value for you. So you are talking about 8. So here, any absolute value function that you look at, you will say that okay fine. Ignore the bar for a little bit and you will say okay, this whole thing that we have inside the bars, that can have two values to it. One is a negative value and one is a positive value, and the mod of both gives me the absolute value. So here when I'm looking at negative value, meaning I'm saying x minus 4 becomes minus 8 and the mod of 8 will give me 8, or x minus 4 equals 8, because when as soon as you see the mod or the bars, this just makes us, well I said whenever you see, okay, so whenever you see a bar, it makes you immune to the sign. So you are looking at two possible scenarios. So here, just by putting the two bars here, you said okay, now we are not talking about one scenario, we are talking about two possible scenarios, one with a positive, one with a negative, and mod transpires that into positive value, just absolute value, where you kill the sign which is next to it. So now, by putting the mod here, what did we get? We will say okay fine, by looking at this, there are two equations we are talking about. So this just these two bars converted this equation to two equations. One, x minus 4 equal to minus 8 and x minus 4 equal to plus 8. Now you have two equations, that essentially means you will have two possible x values. So when you look at this equation, this is x equals minus 8 plus 4, which is minus 4. And when you look at this equation, x will be equal to 8 plus 4, which is 12. Is that making sense to everybody? Yeah? So, this is fairly straightforward, okay? Or the way you have to always look at it, whatever I have in the mod, I'm only going to consider the positive value of it. I mean, take the absolute value of it, and the absolute value will be one with negative, one with positive. You have to consider both the scenarios, that is how you are getting two answers here. So, tomorrow when you come across a question like this, whenever you see a mod function, it could be for linear equation, it could be for a quadratic equation or any polynomial for that matter. You have to only look at what is that you have inside the mod, and let's say it says x squared plus 4x minus 9 equal to 15. No big deal. You have to think of this. You have to break this into two possible equations. So there are two branches that will come out of this one equation. You will say, now I want to take out the bar, and how do I do it? By considering both the options. This and second is now you know how to deal with it, right? When you see those bars, these are like barriers. It is restricting you to just go in a free flow. Now when you take those bars out and convert this into equation, this is something that we deal with every day. Yeah? Is this part okay to us? Varun, Vishal, Riya, Ritika, Saranya, everybody?
I have a small question.
Yes, brother.
How is the negative 15 in the first equation?
Say that again?
How do you use negative 15 as the output?
So, see, the thing is, this mod, what does the mod say or the absolute value function say? Somebody joined in between. Who is that? Let me quickly check. Where is Sarah today? Sarah is not seen. And we have somebody called Sahib Singh. Who is that?
This is my first day right here.
So, this is your first day? Okay. And can you tell me your parents' name, beta, so that I can relate? Is it- Oh, okay. Yep. And what's your name, beta? Sahib. Okay. Hey, Sahib, welcome to the class. So Sahib, we are right now talking about three different types of equation. One is called radical equation. Second one is called rational equation, and third one is called absolute value equation. So we just started with absolute value equation. Everybody here pay attention. Okay. So when we look at absolute value equation, so Dhanvin, you had a question, right? And Sahib, I would request you to pay attention as well. Let's see how do we interpret this. If I have, let's say, minus 8 inside these two bars, okay, it will be equal to 8. Because these two bars give you the immunity to ignore the sign. If you have plus 8 inside the bar, again, this gives you the immunity to ignore the sign. So be it a minus inside the bar or be it a plus inside the bar, both means the same thing. So to your point, Dhanvin, here, we are talking about negative and positive, both the values converting into just the absolute value, ignoring the sign. So when you have this equation, let's say this equation gives some value, okay? This equation gives some value. It can give a, let's say, so this equation, equivalent of this equation is 15, right? And how that will be possible if you have it inside the bar? That means either this whole thing is equal to plus 15 or it's equal to minus 15. And when you put a bar around it, in both the scenarios, your answer is 15. So basically, I am looking at it in the reverse direction. When I have this equation to solve, my interpretation would be that this whole thing can be minus 15 or plus 15, and the mod of that or the absolute value of that is 15. So that is why I am converting this into two equations so that I can get two possible solutions. Does that make sense, Dhanvin, now? Yeah? Sahib, was that a understandable interpretation or explanation, or was sounding a little cryptic? Understand? So Sahib, here, since this is your first class, couple of things that you want to be aware of. One is, in this class, everybody has the freedom and luxury of making mistakes. I love when you guys make mistakes. Not that I'm wanting you guys to make mistakes, but what I'm trying to say here is making mistake is no crime. So I want you guys to share your opinion, thoughts, understanding without the fear of being told right or wrong. Okay, that is one. And second thing is, when we are learning something in the class, don't worry about taking notes and all. Put your entire energy and focus on understanding the concept that we are trying to learn. Okay? Because whatever we are doing, I am getting recorded, the board is getting recorded, and you will have a video of the class after this. Okay? So you can refer to it later on to revise whatever we have done. Okay? And this video goes on to YouTube, not because I want to become a famous YouTuber, it's only for you guys. I don't have so many subscribers. It's only my students who get to see those videos. Alright? Now, so we looked at an absolute value function, absolute value equation, and we saw that, okay, whenever I have an absolute value equation, this will give birth to two equations, one with a positive value, one with a negative value. See, this one was looking very innocent. It looks like one equation, but this is not. As soon as you put the bar, this becomes crooked. This says, no, don't look at me on my face value. I am not one equation, I am two equations combined. One with a positive outcome, one with a negative outcome. Is that okay? Let's pick up one sample problem. See, I kind of gave it a little complicated shape. Then try solving two problems, okay? One with a linear equation, one with a positive equation. And then see, are we able to deal with them in a very convenient way, or is it making us think, okay? So I will give you guys one quick problem. Let me go here. So I have picked up few problems for you guys. So this is a question picked up from a legitimate source. If I say equal to 5, can you guys solve it for x? And if you guys solve it for x without any problem, that is when I will have a mischievous intent to make it a little complicated for you. Let's see. Can you guys solve it for x and tell me what are the 2 possible values or 3 possible values or whatever number of possible values you can come across? And I would request everybody to try. It's just based on the concept that we have just learned. Yes, Vishal. What are the answers? Just tell me the answers, then I'll pick your brain.
I got 2 answers.
Okay, what are those? -2 and 3. Okay. And request to everybody else, don't get biased with anybody's answer. Tell me your answer. Yeah.
I got 2, -3.
2 and
-3.
-3. See? Good that nobody is biased. Dave, what is your answer, beta? You got -2 and 3, okay? Whoever has given the answer, you can put your hand down so that I can look at who all is remain to share the answer. Yes, Sriyan, tell me.
For the first one, I got -2. Wait, no, I just got -2 and 3.
-2 and 3. Okay, how about you, Saib?
2 negative.
2, -3.
Positive 3.
Ah. Positive 3, -2, okay. Neil? -2 and 3. Okay. Anjani?
I got -2.
Okay.
-2 positive. I read my answers wrong because my handwriting is kind of bad. I got -2.
-2 and 3. Ritika?
And I also got -2.
And this is becoming more like an election where the only one candidate wins. Let's see. What is your answer, Dhamishri? Little louder, beta. -2 and 3.
-2 and positive.
Okay. Praneet, you told the answer, right? -2 and 3. Okay. Anybody who has not been able to get to the answer? Shravya, Varun, Ria. What is your answer, Chris? Praneet and Vishal, you guys can put your hand down.
I got
2, -3. Okay. Alright. I'll just probably pick 2 of you, okay? And Sahib, unfortunately, you will become a victim of all my mischief today. Mostly in the first class, I bother the kids more. So tell me how did you approach this? Just tell me the approach. What went into your mind? Sahib and Sahib. It is Sahib. I have Sahib and Sahib both in the class now. Okay, I'll pick him up. Okay, Sahib, tell me better.
First I made 2 equations.
Okay.
First was 2x minus 1 equals 5. And the next one was 2x minus 1 equals -5. And for the first case, I solved it.
So you said 2x minus 1 equal to 5 and 2x minus 1 equal to -5. Yep. Okay.
So for the first one, I added 1 to get 2x by itself. So I got 2x equals 6. And then divided by 2x divided by 2 to get ready to 2. Then they got x equals 6 in the first case. And for the second one, it was 2x minus 1 equals -5. I added 1 to make it -4. And then I divided by 2 on both sides to get -2.
Right. So basically, I'm pretty sure everybody did the same way. I'm just following whatever Sahib said, okay? So first equation was this. So this became 2x equal to 5 plus 1, that is 6. So x equals 6 by 2, that is 3. And from this equation, 2x became minus 5 and this minus 1 other side it became plus 1, that is minus 4. So to x equals minus 4 by 2, that is minus 2. So all of you got minus 2 and 3 as the answer. So this is the answer. And I'm assuming that everybody did the same thing. That whenever you have something inside this modulus function, modulus symbol or the absolute value symbol, these two vertical bars, you will always read this as two possible answers, one with the positive value, one with the negative value. And what is that value? This one. This is what is going to result into this. This whole thing can be minus 5 inside the bar or it could be plus 5 inside the bar. Both will come to the same outcome. Yeah? Yeah, Vishal? Okay. So, this is the approach. Now, I'm not a very simple person. I keep on bothering all my kids. And I know, even if I tell you guys you all are my kids, but I keep on tasting the depth of water. And that only happens, that only works when we deal with little tricky or difficult problems. So let me make your life a little more interesting. If I say x squared plus 4x can you guys solve it for x? And let's see how many solutions we are getting. Saib, have you dealt with quadratic equation in the past? Have you dealt with quadratic equation in the past? Do you know how to deal with quadratic equation? If you have to solve a quadratic equation, do you know how to do it? Quadratic equation.
Oh, don't you do the square root it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So then I'm just checking better because this is the first class, so I'm just trying to make sure that
What's the symbol after this x?
6x. So this is x squared plus 6x plus 9 equal to 8. And I want you guys to solve it for x. Let's see where you guys go. Ritika, Neil, Ria, everybody trying, right? Varun? Yeah. I want you guys to try, no matter how far you are able to go. And I just randomly I picked up names, okay? That doesn't mean I doubt anybody. I'm just calling out names randomly. So I'll be muted for next 2-3 minutes. I want you guys to try and tell me the approach. Even if you don't solve it, at least tell me the approach once you come to a point. Why calculator?
I'm doing quadratic.
I'm sorry?
I'm doing the quadratic equation.
That you can do without calculator. Calculator is not smarter than you.
It's faster.
Okay. Let's see.
So if I do it on my hand, I'll learn it.
Hey Nikhil.
Hi, sir.
So Nikhil, today we are learning radical, rational and absolute value equation. And we're not going to learn all three of them in one class. We have started with absolute value equation and we are trying to solve this. So I taught something in last 20 minutes which you probably have missed. If you know about it, give it a try. If you don't, I will anyway solve it and then that will probably make it clear to you. So this when you see these two vertical bars, electric pole, whatever you call it, or palm tree, when you have it surrounding the equation, that is called absolute value. That makes the equation classified as absolute value equation. So you guys know how to solve a quadratic equation, but I have added one more flavor to it by putting these two vertical bars, and I want you guys to solve for x. So give it a try and we'll see. And you know how to solve it to get the absolute value of x? even if you come to a point that okay, these are the 4 things I will do, and then after that I know how to do it. That also is enough. Yeah. What is the answer? Tell me the answer first.
No real solution. There is.
It's 2 times square root of 2 minus 3.
Minus 3.
And then the second solution is that one, but it's a negative kind of first.
One more time.
So negative 2 times square root of 2 minus 3.
Minus 3. Okay.
So the one other solution is to put this into minus. There's also five.
Any other thoughts?
Hit all 4 and then
Yes, Pradeep. Same as what you have on the board? Okay. So it's 2 into square root 2 minus 3 and minus 2 into square root 2 minus 3. Anybody else? Dhanushri, Shravya, Sriyan, Nikhil, Praneet, Anjani, anybody? Saranya? Okay. One more minute and then I would want to hear the approach. Is anybody working hard on this right now? Who doesn't want me to bother you? Riya, Sahib, anybody? Okay, let's start the story. Story time. Okay guys, here. So this is the story time. Can somebody tell me how you approach this problem?
you just set it equal to negative and half.
Okay. Alright. You'll get this to a negative 8 and positive 8. That is the first step. Yes, Praneet. What else you want to add to it?
I would do what they say. Like use like see if I could map the equation to those base investments whole square equations and then get those back or use like the quadratic equation to find the answers.
Okay. So here's the deal. So Nikhil, since you joined a little late, let me make it as simple as possible for this. Whenever you have an absolute value equation, this simply means that these two symbols, which makes it qualified to be called as an absolute value equation, is it gives the immunity. Meaning, if you have something, this whole thing gives you some value. Okay, let's say it gives A. So here, Arush and David here. So when you have an equation like this, equals to A, that means this could result into equal to A, or this could result into minus 8. And that is why minus 8 absolute value or plus 8 absolute value is actually absolute value, only 8. You ignore the sign. So this symbol is nothing but it's the immunity booster. It makes you immune to the signs. Yeah. So now when you have this whole equation inside this bar, that means this whole thing is good for a positive outcome as well as a negative outcome. And when this whole outcome is 8 or minus 8 inside the bar, both will have this value as 8. So basically that is the first step always. That whenever you see any equation inside the bars, you can assume that it's talking about two possible scenarios, one with a positive outcome, one with a negative outcome. That's okay, right? Everybody clear about that part? So that means this whole thing got split into two parts. Or two scenarios. One with a positive value, one with a negative value. Now essentially you have two equations, one equation like this, one equation like this, and you have to solve for this. So now if you guys remember, whenever you have a quality equation, by solving it, you'll get two answers. This guy can potentially give us up to two answers. This guy can also give us potentially up to two answers. So I was hoping to at least get four answers from one of you. Nobody has given me that answer. That means we have not evaluated both the scenarios maybe. Or maybe one of the equations doesn't give any solution. That could be the reason. Yes, Praneet.
Yeah, the second equation, the square root is that's so we can't.
Okay. Yes, Sahib, you were saying something. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Beta? Okay. So basically now this equation doesn't exist for me. This whole equation doesn't exist for me because this has given birth to two equations, and that is what I would want to be concerned about. I will try solving these two equations, this one, and see what are the answers I'm getting. When I look at this equation, this is what? X squared plus 6x plus 9 equal to 8. So if I bring everything to one side, that becomes x squared plus 6x plus 9 minus 8 equals 0. So this is x squared plus 6x plus 1 equals 0. And when you solve it using the quadratic formula, what does the quadratic formula say? Here in this equation, what is your A? A is 1, which is the coefficient of x squared. B is nothing but 6, which is the coefficient of x. And C is nothing but the last constant, which is what? It says, let's look at the value of x. As per the formula, it says minus b plus minus b squared minus 4ac by 2a. So substitute that value here, minus b is 6. So minus 6 plus minus b squared, 6 squared, 36 minus 4 into 1 into 1 into 1 into 1. That is nothing but by 2a. 2 into a is 1. So this became minus 6 plus minus square root of 36 minus 4. So square root of 32 by 2. So here square root of 32 will be what? 16 2s are 32. So 4 root 2. So this becomes minus 6 plus minus 4 root 2 divided by 2. So you have 2 common here. It becomes minus 3 plus minus 2 root 2, because you are taking 2 common here and then dividing this by 2. So this becomes minus 3 plus minus. So there are two values of x that you got from the first equation. Now let's look at the second equation, which is this guy. So since you guys did not give me 4 answers, that makes me think that probably this equation is not going to give me the answer. And my best way to figure it out is, let's look at the discriminant. What is the value of discriminant in this case? And what is my discriminant? Discriminant is nothing but b square minus 4ac. And again, this is nothing new. It's part of the same quadratic formula that we have, minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac by 2. So I'm just looking at this part alone to see if I'm getting any real value for this or not. So this is b square. B square is 6 square. 36 minus 4 into a is 1. And in this case c will be, this 8 comes to this side, this becomes 17. 9 plus 8, 17. Into 17. Oh, this gives a negative square root of a negative number, which is called unreal number. And that is why you will not get the real solution for x from this equation. That is why most of you are leaning towards the 2 answers. Is that making sense so far? Riya, Vishal, Shriyan, Neil, Sahib. Yeah? Yes, yeah. You were saying something better. Okay. And trust me, nobody is forced to say yes. At least the kids who are in the classroom, I can threaten them. I can show a bigger eye if I have one. I don't have one. But so they can be scared of me that okay, the teacher is standing right next to me, how come I can say no? He'll get super mad. But for you guys who are on the screen, you don't have to be afraid of me. So nobody is forced to say yes, okay, unless you are convinced. Okay? Saranya, Anjani. Is that clear, beta?
Yes.
How about you, Dave? Yep. Yes, Saranya.
Oh, I just said yes.
Okay. And trust me, as I said, nobody is obligated to say yes unless you are confident, okay? I'm here to teach you guys only. Alright? Dave clear, Dhanushri clear, beta? So we have muddled enough water to deal with absolute value equation. Correct? So tomorrow, anybody getting any problem to deal with, let's say somebody says, okay, find out 6 times x plus 9 bar minus 3, minus let's say 8 plus 2 times f plus 9 equal to 15. If you get a situation like this also, you're not worried. Because this f plus 9, if I call this gentleman as a watermelon, I have 6 watermelons here and 2 watermelons here. This becomes 8 watermelons. Minus 8 equal to 15. So this is a simplified form of this equation. Now you don't have the watermelon scattered all around. You have consolidated them in one place. Okay? And now you know that okay, whenever I have a situation like this, let me get this guy to the other side of the wall. So I have 15, this goes to the other side, becomes 15 plus 8, 23. So 8 times this equal to 23. And every absolute value function breaks or splits the function into two types, one with a positive value, one with a negative value. And then you will deal with it. Yep. So as long as your approach is point blank, you are very, very clear about how you are going to take it forward, you will not find this type of equation coming your way when it comes to solving it right. Okay? So again, after the class, what I suggest to all the kids is, go to Khan Academy, pick up this topic, do the unit test. And again, not to get stressed by the task of doing it. It is more of an exercise to see that whatever we have learned in the class, am I able to solve it by the concept that we have gone through? Okay? So that's more of a message for you, Sahil. Okay? Everybody else has heard me so many times that they are probably tired of me. Okay? Alright? Shall we go to the next one? Alright. So next one is called radical equation. Nikhil, was it clear beta? Whatever I did? I know you joined a little late, but I'm just trying to make sure that you're able to catch up.
No, it's clear.
Okay. Now we are talking about second type of equation which is called radical equation. And just to refresh the memory for you all, we talked about this radical equation that any equation which had this nonsensical symbol called radical is called a radical equation. So if I have an equation, let's say 4x plus 3y equal to 8. Or let's now add 2 more variables here. Let's say I have an equation like this. A simple linear equation with one variable. Linear equation. Now, when you add the radical sign to it, that is when it is called radical equation. Is that a good understanding to begin with, everybody? Now, when you deal with this, how will you deal with this? It's fairly straightforward. You see, I used a term called nonsensical. Yes.
It's all that.
Oh, you want to solve it? Okay, so let me complete my speech. I'll come to it. So here, I purposefully use a term nonsensical, meaning I don't like things when they look complicated or they are there to misguide us. So we want to get rid of them in the most legitimate way. I have this radical sign. This gets me little uncomfortable. I want to get rid of that. How do I do it? I will, okay, let it be like this. When I don't have anything between here, I think this is square root. I will do square of this and then I will do square of this, both the sides. If something equal to 2, this square will be equal to 2 square. As simple as that, right? So when I square this, what will happen? This becomes, here is 2 and this is 2. So these two will dilute each other and this symbol will be gone. Or the exponents way, if you guys remember, something like this is as good as something to the power 1 by 2. And you have something to the power 1 by 2 and to the power 2. So if you guys remember the exponent formula, a to the x to the power a, this whole thing to the power b becomes x to the power a times b. So here it's a and this b, then this gets multiplied. So this minus 1 by 2 and this 2 gets multiplied, that gives you a 1. So that is how the square of this will give you, the square of the square root of this will give you nothing but this whole equation. So this part became 4x plus 3. This looks much more cuter, much more amiable, much more friendly compared to what we were seeing before. 8 square is nothing but 64. Yes. Now I will stop you with that. Tell me, what is that you wanted to share?
Resolve.
This same answer.
Okay, that is like very just.
I'm sorry?
You already did it.
I already did it. But have I completed it already? No? Why so?
Or you haven't isolated x.
I have not isolated. Okay, so let's say if I isolate it also, so that means 4x equals to 64 minus 3. So 4x equals 64 minus 3, 61. X equals 61 by 4, that is 15.25. Is this the answer?
Yeah.
No. No. Or let me rephrase it. Is this the only answer? So there's a concept called extraneous solution. Okay, we'll come to that also. Let's see what Sriyan has to say. Yes, Sriyan.
Would it be 15.25 and negative 0.25, but like in like the parentheses?
Okay.
That's not.
Maybe you are thinking in the right direction. But before we think about the extremes of the equation, right? First thing is let's stick to the basic part of it, and then we'll kind of try peeling up the onions. Okay? So one thing you saw that whenever you have an equation with a radical sign, that is called a radical equation. Yeah. And whenever you have a situation like this, you will do a square of that or cube of that depending on which root you are talking about. To simplify it, knock off the radical sign and then you solve it. So let's try solving a few problems, then we'll talk about the extraneous solution. Okay? But before I start doing that stunt on the board, is there anybody in the class who would want me to repeat it one more time? Ritika, Dhanvin, Sriyan, Dhanushri, anybody? Vishal, Neil. Is everybody clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who dropped off? Somebody dropped off. I think Vishal dropped off. Okay. Shravya, Saranya, clear beta so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's say I have this is to be solved. Simple approach. You will square both the sides and you will get x minus 3. You will do square of this and you will do square of this. Yep. And by doing that, you will get this thing will become x minus 3 equals 8 square, which is 64. And then you will say x equals 64 plus 3 equal to 67. That's the thing, right? Let's solve a few problems first. I have selected few problems for you guys, which will be of the same standard that you would want to see, rather than me cooking up some of the questions, right? So let's look at it. So I will get clear to you beta so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at a radical equation. A radical equation is square root of s plus 7 equal to 6 plus 4 times square root of s. Do you guys want to give it a shot? Solve it for s. S as in Sam. Square root of s plus 7 equal to 6 plus 4 times s. Square root of s. Do you want to give it a shot and solve it?
I try. Am I axe to the left? What's happening? What are we doing right now?
We are talking about solving for a radical equation. I think you got dropped off for a few minutes, right? So I just gave a brief of how do we deal with radical equations. So we are trying to solve the first problem. So here we have a radical equation, meaning an equation which has the radical symbols in it. So square root of s plus 7 equal to 6 plus 4 times square root of s. And we are trying to solve it for s, the value of s. Would you be able to try, Vishal? Are you able to hear me okay, Vishal? Okay. Sahib, are you able to hear me okay?
Yeah.
Anjani, how about you, beta?
I can hear you.
Okay. And can I assume that everybody is giving it a try? Yes, Paneet.
I've got s equals to 1 over 9.
1 over 9. Okay. Let's see what answer I'm getting from everybody else. Yes, Sahib.
That's about 1 over 9.
Okay. Okay. Nikhil.
I also know 1 over 9.
1 over 9. You guys are becoming good friends. Okay. How about Dhanushri, Saranya, Shravya, Sian, Varun? Varun, you have been very quiet today. What happened? All good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. What is the answer? 13 over 15. Okay, that's good. Mandeep, you are 5 minutes early for the class. So if you hear something scary, don't worry about it. Your class will start in 5 minutes, okay? Yep, Sahib. What is that you are coming to? Arush, how about you? Okay, so we have kids joining from the next class. Okay, so we'll try wrapping it up. So and the extraneous solution we will probably talk about that in detail. Let's look at how do we need to solve it. Now my lame approach. I have a very lame approach, and I love fruits. Okay, so that is why the fruits come into my discussion every time I'm trying to solve a problem. Now here square root of s. I will give it a name. Orange. I have one orange here, I have 4 oranges here. Let's get all the oranges on one side. This guy travels this side, this guy travels this side. So when this guy comes here, it becomes minus 6. So 7 minus 6 equals 4 oranges minus 1 orange. So what I have, 1 equal to 4 orange minus 1 orange is 3 oranges. That means if I keep the oranges on one side, move everything else to the other side, this equals 1 by 3. The square root of 1 orange is, 1 orange is 1 by 3. So if I want to square this, that is how it will be. So this will become S equals 1 by 3 square, that is 1 by 9. Okay. So now you look at this. I'm just giving you one clue. Square root of S was 1 by 3. So when I'm doing a square of this, that gave me 1 by 9. Right? But isn't there something fishy here? When I'm doing something, look at this. The square of this. When I'm doing a square of this, then I'm getting this value, right? 1 by 3, only 1 by 3. But it's not only 1 by 9 square root of, it's not only this, that gives me, what am I getting? I will hold it for now. Let me not get you guys confused. Let me structure my thoughts before I try explaining this to you guys. So, at least from approach point of view, you guys saw how do you deal with radical equation. We'll deal with some more of them in the next class, and then we'll talk about rational equation also, and we'll look at some of the tricks, and we'll deal with some more problems. Okay? So I'll probably stop the class here so that I don't rush for explaining something to you guys and you guys go baffled out of this class. Okay? So I'll stop here and take some feedback to see if there's anything that is not clear to anybody that we discussed today. Neil, Nikhil, Praneet, Riya, Ritika, Sahib, Saranya, Shravya, anybody? Sriyan, everything clear? I'm sorry, beta? Oh, wonderful. That's good. So, it was like a first class for you, and I'm hoping I did not give you enough reasons to be confused or worried. So, that's what I call as a good start. And we'll talk to you guys tomorrow, same time, 3 o'clock, 3 p.m. Central. Yeah? Alright? You guys can go and have a nice rest. I know it was post-lunch session, little sleepy, but yeah, take some rest. We'll talk tomorrow.
Have a good day, sir.
Good day, bye-bye.